Hey, it's Kristen, back with another reading. Welcome to our time together today. This is about someone on your mind, past, present, or future. Let's just see what wants to come up, and one already flipped. So Page of Pentacles. So somebody has presented to you something that's solid. It might feel smaller than you want it to be, or this could be a person who's younger than you. But it's definitely, it seems like something is being presented and you're wondering around what it is and if it's a solid thing or if it's just something that's come out of a spark that has arisen between you and someone. But they are a solid person. They're a grounded person. And this is you being grounded and solid as well. I think this is a reciprocal energy bouncing back and forth about, a little conversation here, a little text there, perhaps a little meeting here, and you're wondering around what's next. Perhaps you're feeling defensive or they're feeling defensive, but I think this is in the background, probably arising from feelings around what can I offer, what can I really give? Is it going to be enough? Can I really give them what they want? This could be you or them. Perhaps somebody has, offered you something, and it's been going on maybe for a couple of weeks, and you're wondering when there's going to be like the next step or a little bit more. And this could be just going from, texting all the time and having one date to it's been 2 weeks and there hasn't been any other date, and you're wondering, what's going on type of situation. And that might make you feel defensive. This could also be that you don't know what you quite want next, and you could be getting a defensive feeling from somebody who is pushing you to go out on another date or to hang out with them in some capacity, and you're not 100% sure because perhaps there is some sort of pattern or something that you see in them that's reminding you about something that you don't want to be around, something that you want to protect yourself from. So there's confusion. There's confusion around what somebody wants. And they're really worried about making the wrong choice that is going to put them back into, an old story around relationships. Somebody here could have more than one option as well. It could absolutely be you. Someone's keeping their options open, and the other person feels it, and that's why they're being defensive, because it feels like, there's a bit of a good time here. This is something that, is solid and potentially could grow, or it seems that way on the surface, but there isn't really enough information that you have. And so there's a lack of clarity right there, and that lack of clarity can put us in a state where we're feeling, it's that feeling we feel in the body where, it's a little bit squishy in the stomach, maybe a little bit panicky in the gut, and this could be, if it's you or the one putting your defenses up, that it's giving them anxiety. And you're feeling their anxiety, and it's sort of one of those things where it's like, someone comes across very attractive and very solid, and it's small, and it's just starting out really small, and it's kind of going well, and then they're pushing for a little bit more than what you want at a pace that's faster than what you're comfortable with, and then that makes them feel defensive. And then the whole thing then feels confusing because you're like, how come we just can't go at a slower pace, right? Because there's transformation going on, and it could be that this is about a cycle where you don't want to repeat a pattern. You're very particular about not repeating a certain pattern around love and relationships, even though, you know, something is there and there's something that feels like it could be a good thing, but it's reminding you, it's actually, you know, sometimes in the midst of feeling confused, as we kind of wind down that you know, rabbit hole of going into perhaps a little bit of shadow work or looking into relationships and our patterns, it kind of, then we end up kind of spiraling ourselves into clarity. And, you know, this is my oracle card for the week. A girlfriend and I always do have this deck, which is the Sacred Rebels deck by Alana Fairchild. And we always pick a card for the week. And mine was this Spirals of Manifestation. And so I always think, you know, with spirals, we never know what's coming around the bend. We never know what's coming up and around. And in some ways that could be really beautiful, because it could be something wonderful that's waiting for us just right around the bend. That's all we have to do. But are we spiraling into a repeated pattern? And this card is also about wanting, you know, to be your rebellious self. So perhaps you want to rebel against, you know, a way of being in relationships or a way of picking partners, picking dates that you have always done. There's something that wants to disrupt a certain pattern. Perhaps you don't want to spiral down, right? You're interested in spiraling up into a more expansive, more liberated feeling of being able to date and pick and choose and you know, to not be afraid that you have to go with someone because they're offering you something, because you're in a place that's sort of like this liminal in-between space of where you've been around love and partnership and where you're going around love and partnership. You know that if you stay on this track of personal growth, of healing, of not being able, not being afraid to look at, you know, any kind of, like, I always say perceived mistakes, but, you know, the things that we did, the choices that we made that we feel like, okay, I don't want to do that again. Or I made that choice based on what I knew and the wisdom that I had and the information that I had. And, you know, now that I've learned, I don't want to do that again, right? So we want to expand, and, you know, so there has to be a kind of death process around of how we used to do things that can feel, you know, a bit overwhelming and uncomfortable, especially if we're looking for partnership and we've got something there, but there's something that you want to protect yourself from. There's something, you know, especially if someone's coming at you and they're being a little bit defensive, or they're, you know, kind of going on about their past and the mistakes they don't want to make. Maybe this is somebody that talks about an ex-wife a lot, talks about an ex-girlfriend, talks about, you know, about their friends and how they don't like their friends' wives and things like that. And you kind of get the feeling that, you know, even though there's something interesting and kind of really solid, you know, that is just one part of themselves that they're showing you. There are these other parts. And, you know, it's like, yes, I like this, and this about you, but no, I say no to that kind of behavior. I say no to that kind of behavior. I say no to that response to my talking about what my needs are, or, you know, because it's important. I mean, it's not desperate sounding to, in a very clear and intelligent way, when we're conversing with a person, that there might be some sort of potential around, to talk about, you know, the things that we value, and to kind of investigate and get curious about what they value too, because if those things aren't in alignment, it's not going to work. So, you know, don't be afraid to rebel against around the old way of doing things around relationships. Don't feel afraid to take risks. And with the feathers, that reminds me of, you know, the feathers that they used to write with way back in the day. You might want to get specific. A conversation that I had with my girlfriend Renee, when we picked these cards, we were naturally talking about relationships and her relationship and, kind of relationship I would like. And it's okay to get specific. It's okay to get specific about what you're asking for. So maybe you want to write it down and create a kind of ritual around that in a journaling or, just for yourself, maybe at like a new moon with a candle and a glass of wine, or a little whiskey with some ice, or a tea. Whatever feels right for you. Do it with Chinese food. Create something fun for yourself around getting really specific about what you're looking for, so that you're not confused and you can stop off anything from the beginning if you're feeling a little bit of non-alignment, whether it could be a red flag, but doesn't necessarily have to be anything, intense. It could simply be, I'm not in alignment here, and it's okay to let something go and let myself continue to be on this journey and continue to transform, because what I'm looking for, whether I know it or not, really can be just around the bend of the spiral. Thank you so much. I appreciate your being here. Give this a thumbs up. It's a wonderful way to say thank you. And please, if you want to hang out more and have more of these conversations, I hope that you will subscribe. I would love to hang out and connect with you more. And I will see you on the next one. Bye.